Hello and welcome to
Hello.
episode 6. Lock up your daughters. We're out.
Illuminating rounds.
We are. We're back. We're back.
And it's really hot, isn't it?
Do you know what?
Stifling.
We're in a beautiful place though.
It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It looks good. I put my special jungle top on today.
Yeah, I might be taking this jumper off later, but you know,
So where are we today?
Burma.
We're in Burma. Very matter of fact. You're not a travel agent, are you? You don't sell these places.
I'm just pleased I remembered that this scenario is set in Burma.
It's a beautiful place. So, ever been to Asia or Burma?
I have been to Malaysia.
Okay.
And Borneo. That was part of the place I was a part of Malaysia.
During the war, or just?
Yeah, thanks for that. It's an early Roman sort of explorer. Honeymoon.
Oh, really?
It was my honeymoon. Yeah, amazing. Go and visit. Go and visit.
Did you get much ASL played? That's squad leader back in the day. You're going to say that's why. Okay, so what's been happening this week?
So I haven't been playing much. It's been a bit busy. I had to take my mum Christmas shopping on the night that I was supposed to play our Pegasus Bridge scenario. So I haven't been doing any of that. I spent a little bit of time sorting out a few scenario cards. I got really lazy, and when I pulled scenario cards, I was just making a big pile of sort of discarded scenario cards. So I kind of like put all those away. Okay. So that's all I've done. Okay, that's all I've done.
So I've done a lot of work on the scenario archive this week, and we're going to talk a little bit about how people can get perhaps a little bit of a sneak peek of that coming up. I've improved the search function, so the advanced search, which was taking 20 or so seconds to run, now is lightning quick. You can play with it, and you don't care, but there are people out there that do care, and they can go much quicker now.
Yes.
So I've been doing that. I've also been we've set up a Patreon account as well. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So we can talk a little bit about that. So Patreon account now, which gives people a little bit of an insider. If people are interested, you can. You'll be our second sign up. So basically, what you can do is you can sign up to Patreon. You can pay as little as you want per month. We're not expecting any kind of big donations or anything.
No.
But the idea is that you can spend $1, $2, $3, whatever a month, which goes towards us buying packs and things like that we can review.
Yeah, and there are some not insignificant running costs for the ASL.
That's right. No, that's true.
And,
yeah, that costs about $100 a month to host too. So that's goes towards that. The benefits of being a patron for us, you can get a sneak peek of what's going on the archive, so the new look and feel. So you can play around with that. If you go up a tier, so a little bit extra, up to about $9 a month, so if you are going to be a big spender, you can get invited to our Vassal tournament that we're going to run in maybe June, July, something like that.
Yeah.
We'll both be in it, and the plan is that we're going to put a bounty on our heads. So if you beat us in the tournament, then we'll give you a prize. So I expect to get beaten in the first round, and probably by you. We'll see.
Isn't there a possibility of winning a prize just for subscribing?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we get 10 patrons, then we're going to give away a copy of the deluxe pack from Le Franctier that the ASL Scenario Archive kind of had a
recommended retail price of.
It's quite expensive, $80.
Yeah.
So if we get 10 patrons, we will give away a copy of that to one lucky patron. If they've already got a copy, we'll give them something else instead.
So it's the 10th person, or just when we randomly select?
That's right. Yeah. So once we get an episode where we have
that
at
would
least
be fair
10,
on the first.
Yeah, everyone would hold off.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
We're not doing that.
So we're going to do that, and if you go to the top level, just so you know, other than us doing it, we'll give you a personal thank you video, which I'm sure that you can put on the mantelpiece. that's what Patreon suggested doing. Personal thank you. But we'll also do some t-shirts. I thought we'd get you with the crayons, and we'll do some illuminating rounds t-shirts and stuff like that. So that's fun. So we'll put a link down below on the YouTube description for where you can see the Patreon. There's also a link on the Scenario Archive to join. We'd love to.
We've got a new look coming for the ASL Scenario Archive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So right now it's probably still a few weeks away, but you can have a look at it now and see what it looks like.
Much more modern looking.
That's right. Yeah, more modern. A few extra features, bits and pieces, stuff that I've been meaning to do for a long time.
Okay.
And I've been digging up that code. It's a bit dusty, and it's a bit like that sock drawer you never want to go into. So we're gonna do that.
Brilliant.
All right.
Okay, cool.
So today we're going to play a Pacific.
PTO scenario.
Yeah, for the first time on the show. So we thought we'd go through a few different rules about PTO.
Yeah.
And we're also going to talk about our top 5 rules mistakes that we either frequently make or often try to catch ourselves not making. And we're playing Smith Weston from the annual.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we got 2 annuals, 2 journals in a year. So is it
Wondrous.
92, 93A or something? The annual. So that was pretty good. Yeah.
It's quite a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, they haven't aged though. There's not that much.
No.
It's always still as fresh as it was printed. The day it was printed.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's that. So you're going to be taking the Americans.
I am. Yeah.
And we'll talk about setups in a little bit.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's talk about top 5 rules mistakes.
Okay. So. Okay, I kind of slightly did this wrong. I did a couple of things that I often do wrong, but I've more done it. Rules I kind of just misunderstand sometimes. Okay. So my first is removal and scrounging. I get them muddled up. So removal is the ordinary thing that you do when you get out of a vehicle for whatever reason. And you can take the machine guns and the mortars. I do get slightly muddled up what they're allowed to take out with them sometimes. That takes a little bit of time to get my head around sometimes. But scrounging is, I've looked this up so I know. So scrounging is completely different. So scrounging is when you come across an empty vehicle,
right,
and you're able to take the weapons out of it.
And that includes capturing other people's. Can you scrounge?
Yeah, you can scrounge other people's. And in fact, if you've got escaped prisoners, they can rearm with the crew's abandoned weapons.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's good. That's your style points for
absolutely.
Pulling that off.
Yeah, but I get those muddled up.
Okay, that's fair. And we probably don't do it enough as well. I think that's one of the things that you should do more. And I think. And
I thought all you needed really is that vehicle not to go up in flames if it's a wreck.
Right. But you obviously can't do it when you're bailing out or anything like that. It's got to be part of like an orderly.
I think that's right. But very often they've got removable machine guns in these tanks, and I don't remember medium back in to pick it up.
I remember playing Birdie Fox, who's just a great player, and he used to end up with like more support weapons than he'd start with by far. Like I'd be getting the counters back out again because I'll have another heavy machine gun, I'll have another medium machine gun, and all this kind of stuff. So
there are some crazy American half tracks, aren't there?
Right.
Just loaded with heavy machine guns.
There's one with a 50 cal in it as well.
That's right. You can unload the crew and unload the passengers, and you've just got a death machine.
Exactly. I wonder why I never beat him in a game. Anyway, all right. So my number 5, and we played it wrong recently. So when you have a concealed unit versus a dummy unit, so either a concealed or a dummy unit, and you're trying to find hidden fortifications. So it came up in our nighttime game.
Yes, that's right.
And even the rule book says that you should have a house rule, and it basically is like an honour system where you won't go looking for fortifications with dummy units, and I won't accidentally reveal them to you. So you've broken the ASL honour code as in the rule book.
Do you want me to leave now?
Get out of your own house. Yeah. So that's So interesting. So basically the deal is, you need to be telling me that there's always a real unit that you move in, and then I basically say to you, okay, here's the thing.
Yeah. So really, all you have to do is that the mover just has to announce whether it's a real unit as soon as there's a. Mind you, of course, you'll have given away by that point.
That's right. So basically, the idea is that if you're moving around with so I think the honour system says if you're moving around with a dummy unit, I'm not going to say anything to you unless you tell me, by the way, I'm moving a real unit. But if you don't want to know, then just keep moving. So
in that case, so it could even be a real unit would pass by a fortification without me becoming aware if I don't announce.
That's
to you that it's a real unit.
Yeah, so I think that's the idea of the honour system is that you won't do that.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit, and I think one of the guys on the forum sort of suggested, we had to have this kind of cryptic conversation where there might be something there. there's maybe a hit, maybe it's a minefield, maybe it was a fortification, but yeah. And interestingly, today's game is a little bit different because we haven't got there's so many dummies and cloaking things like that. But we have got hip units that may or may not get revealed as and when we go through them. So I don't know if you're aware of that kind of thing with the stealthy defenders don't have to get revealed as hip. I can go through them in the jungle.
Yes.
And you don't have to reveal it. So. Yeah. Okay, all right, you're number 4.
Okay, so just air support.
I
quite like air support, but it's not that often that you play with air support. And I'm fine with it up until a point where I've got to try and work out what happens when the bomb leaves, whether it hits or not, and then what damage it does. And it's every time I play with it, I have to kind of like go back through the rule book and work it out, and then I kind of get it to work. And then of course I don't play.
Run and there's the point attack, isn't there?
There's just a number of stages, and it's just a little bit. It's just one stage more than my brain can handle. So I get my head around it, but it takes me time every time, and every time I want to play, because I think it looks quite cool, some of the planes stuff. But of course I then won't play with planes again for another year or two, and I've forgotten, and I've got to do it all over again.
Yeah, and generally when you play a scenario with like fire support and things like that, the scenario is all around the fighter sport, isn't it? They're very rarely incidental.
Yeah.
Just
it's going to matter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think red barricades and things like that is probably where you get away with not necessarily knowing it. If you're playing something like Birds of Prey or one of those scenarios where there's a big emphasis on the plane, then you've got to get that right. Yeah, that's a good one.
Incidentally, I've never had close combat with planes. Have you ever played close combat with planes?
Is there close combat?
There is a rule for close combat. Yeah, so you can try to stop their sort of fighter bombers from attacking with yours.
Wow. Okay, all right.
It's something I've never done.
No, not hand to hand. I hope it's not like Tom Cruise upside down with his tail fin. All right, so my number 4, restricted slow turrets.
Yes.
And the idea that I forget all the time that if you are crew exposed, you can't fire the main armament, you can't fire the coaxial, and even if you're buttoned up, I don't think you can even fire the coaxial and the main armament at the same time, in the same phase. That whole
and of course they don't hit things so well when they're buttoned up, do they? So you can't benefit from that sort of sneaking up at the last moment to take your advancing fire shot.
Exactly. Yeah. So just being aware of like what those limitations are for the kind of the old Russian tanks and things like that is something I've got to be more aware of.
Mainly the Russians its effects, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's my number 4.
Yeah, easy to forget.
All right.
So until recently, I've always played this wrong. I've always got confused because the straying rules are different for the night and for the jungle.
Right. Yep.
In the sense that, and I'm probably getting this wrong, we'll get all sorts of comments.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that at the night, you only do a movement die roll at the beginning of your movement phase if you are not next to one of the features which allows you not to risk strain. Whereas in dense jungle, you have to roll whichever point in your movement that you cease to be adjacent to one, or whatever moment the conditions are right, where you have to take the movement die roll.
Yeah.
And I've got completely confused, and I've played that wrong both ways, I think, because one day I read the rules for the jungle, one day I read the rules for night. Do you know, I've been playing this wrong, now I've got it. And then I realised that it's because it's different in both situations.
And we've got a bit of an issue today's rules, haven't we? So do you want to see what's...
Yeah, we couldn't settle it, and...
arm wrestled.
We arm wrestled, and Dave won. So that's what we're going to go with, get Dave's interpretation. But we would be interested in people who know the PTO rules inside out, who could tell us if we played this correctly or not. My understanding of the straying rules in PTO is, and it says in the rule book, if you are in a dense jungle... An interior dense jungle hex, and you are surrounded by other dense jungle hexes, when you try to move out of that hex, you are subject to the movement dice roll, which means that there's a risk of you straying. Albeit we're both elite in this, so it's actually, most of the time we're going to pass it. And it lists a couple of exceptions, and one of the exceptions is if you're involved in a banzai. I can't remember what the other one is, but there's quite a limited number. It's just 2 exceptions, and I think that means that you can stray even if you're on or adjacent to a path. And you disagree, and because you say that because we're looking at the straying rules, you've got to defer to where the straying rules are explained in detail.
I mean, I say
all sorts of exceptions,
with the loosest possible conviction of my terms.
And of course, being on or adjacent to a path is the exception. In this scenario, 9 times out of 10 we're going to be on or adjacent to a path. So it'll be interesting. We're going to play your way. So we're going to play it with sort of, I don't know, sort of straying light.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll buy you a beer.
I'm not completely, and that would be a first.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Me get the rules right.
Fingers crossed here.
All right. Okay. So my number 3 fits in perfectly. Inexperienced personnel.
Yeah. Okay.
So I always forget that conscripts and greens double cower. And they reduce their breakdown by 1.
Yes. Yeah.
And frequently at the end of the scenario, and I think you end up picking up the weapons that you've dropped before, or you scrounge whatever you found before, or whatever.
Forget they're inexperienced.
That's right, yeah. And that double cower, which is pretty crucial. I think we're very quick to throw the final fire counter on for cowering guys.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing, just on that, British second line as well, cower. And that's something that I always there we go.
Do you know what? I didn't know that. Well, it's only elite and first line that don't.
Yeah.
I knew obviously green didn't cowered, but I didn't realise that.
Yeah. So there we go. That's something.
And actually, it's easy if you begin a game scenario with conscripts to kind of get your head around.
Yeah.
Like, I've got to be careful here because obviously they're going to double cower and there's
Yeah.
all these other effects. But because those conscripts appear in the course of the game when
That's
you're
right,
not
yeah.
really focused on that.
Yeah. And a key thing as well is if you have one conscript squad in your whole fire group and you roll doubles, the whole fire group double counts.
That is crucial,
So,
isn't it?
yeah, that's a big
massive difference.
change. Yeah. Okay. All right, your
so
number 2.
My number 2 is indirect fire mortars against AFVs,
Right.
armoured fighting vehicles. I always get this confused. I mean, there's a little table and it says indirect fire, and so I'm firing my 50mm mortar at it or whatever, and I know it's a very, very low chance of it doing much damage, but it can damage it. I get really, really confused. I don't quite understand the table. Every time I think I understand it, I play against an experienced player and I go to do it and they go, no.
Right.
You don't do it like that.
Is it when their tanks are about to? Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm just confused about that. And I always have been. I really need to just sit down with the rule book, get my head around it once and for all.
Yeah.
But I always get that wrong.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's and it's nice to always hit and take out a tank or a vehicle with a mortar, isn't it? Because you feel like it's a bit of a bonus.
And with the rate of fire, it's not inconceivable, and especially against relatively lightly armoured tanks or open top tanks.
Yeah.
You get a modifier for that as well, because I think you get something if all the armour factors are below 4.
Yeah. That
sort of thing.
Yeah. And what about specific and general collateral attacks?
Do you know? I don't think I put that on my on my list.
Is that because you never make mistakes, or because you don't ever
That's
go
because
for it?
because you said 5, and this could be. I was picking 5 from like several hundred rules misunderstandings. I've never been more spoilt for choice with this top 5, Dave.
I love I love the fact that in the first edition rules, maybe even the second edition rules, I can't remember, but just specific and general collateral attacks were like on the first page of the rule book,
where it makes no sense to the person reading the rule book from
I
beginning
don't
to
understand
end.
them now. I've played this game for 15 years, don't understand that properly.
Yeah.
And I noticed now they've just moved it away quietly. They've just said, look, see D point 2.3 or something. Just come back to it when you're old enough to read these rules, because you're too newbie if you're on the first page of those. So that's
these rules were not designed to be read from front to back, were they? That was not the way.
Well, not with collateral attacks right at the front as well. I mean,
No.
That's that. All right. Okay. So my number 2, firing at the intersection of a road hex with infantry.
Yeah,
run
I
down.
forget this.
So obviously, usually you're just going to pick the centre dot of the point, and maybe you get a snapshot if you're going to be flashy, and that's all great. I learned something today about snapshot actually.
Oh yeah, cool.
Which is if you're in an upper level building, do you think you can snapshot against the guys bypassing your lower ground level?
I would have thought so.
Yeah, you can't do it.
Can't do it.
No. So yeah, it's the hex, not the location that's prevented. So you can't fire a snapshot in someone entering your own hex. And that includes.
Right, I see. Right, so you can't. That's right. I do remember that you can't. Yeah. You're throwing me a little bit because bypassing is a slightly different.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's as they enter your hex.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's another one of the mistakes that I make. But fire at an intersection for the road.
But if they moved into the building, because they're one level below you, you'd be able to fire at them in the normal way.
Yeah, no problems.
Can you still fire, but you can't fire at them while they're bypassing the building?
So it's a snapshot. You can't take the snapshot.
Okay. You could fire at them.
Yes, yeah. Just a snapshot. That's what you can't do. So there might be some weird thing of entering that you can't see them or something. I don't know. Maybe there's a stairwell issue or something. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, that's what's going on there. Okay, your number 1.
My number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the hero modifier.
Okay.
And I often forget that it only applies when the hero is in the fire group and is firing at something within normal range.
Oh, right.
Which is, I think, 4.
4, yeah.
Yeah. So I do know that rule.
Yeah.
But very, very often I go, right, I've got my hero in there, that's a -1, it's 6 hexes away, and I shouldn't be applying it. So it's something that I easily forget. There is a way you can sort of get it back ineffectively if they're firing a support weapon, which they do more effectively than other multi-man counters. So you could be firing a light machine gun, for example, and he can apply his modifier out as far as the normal range of the machine gun. But when he fires a machine gun on his own, he gets a +1 to his roll, so it kind of cancels it out, I guess.
And there's potentially the anti-tank rifle as well. I think he can maybe I don't know if he gets a +1 for that as well.
I don't know if he gets a +1 for that.
That might extend his range out. I seem to remember a slight. Maybe I think there's a sleazy thing about that, giving them the anti-tank rifles for something, but that's another one to look up maybe. But
definitely.
No heroes today.
It's just easy to forget. Well, you never know.
There's all the PTO guys. All right, so my number one Okay, so when you are firing at an infantry who has assault moved,
Yes.
and they then break, subsequent shots against that infantry unit in that phase are going to be taken as if they are not assault moving.
Absolutely, yeah.
So suddenly from a potential minus one or maybe whatever, you're going to get a -2 shot against. So something that looked quite safe for a unit, suddenly because they break, now non-assault movement. Even if obviously they've only used one hex.
Yeah, suddenly looking much more vulnerable. And of course
right.
they're broken, and they're going to step reduce.
Exactly, yeah.
Casualty reduce.
And forgetting that rule, and it takes two to forget. And I'm
Yeah.
We've both done that, but yeah, that's a key thing I think to try and remember when assault moving troops break.
And it's interesting because you're a way up whether you want to kind of use another shot against a unit you've already broken.
Yep.
Which might be useful somewhere else because there's a chance of causing some casualties.
Exactly, yeah.
Or hold back and.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And does that counts right the way into the final fire?
So final fire you won't get the movement in the open, and so it's only be the defensive fire phase.
You'd still get you wouldn't get the non-assault move, which is the thing that you benefit.
That's right. Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
But in that phase, whilst they've moved, whatever it is, 2 points or whatever to move into that location, you get the 2 shots there.
Yeah.
So
brilliant. So there we are. There's our 5 worst rules.
And then just a neat segue, we'll now play some Japanese PTO.
We use nearly all of the rules that we always get wrong.
So we should talk a little bit about. Just for top level stuff. We played a night scenario the other day.
Yes.
Would you say to someone, if you haven't played night and you haven't played Japanese PTO, which should you go for first?
PTO.
PTO first, yeah.
I think the night rules change the game very, very dramatically, and although there are lots of changes with PTO, I don't think it's as dramatic.
Right.
I don't think it's essentially the same. You've got some, this thing about the Japanese not breaking and things like that, and there's different rules about movement and fire groups and stuff. But I think nights are more, a more conceptually different game to PTO.
And you can ease into PTO quite gently by playing like a Mayhem in Manila or something like that, where you're playing effectively normal terrain.
Just got the Japanese.
Just the Japanese, exactly. And then you can kind of see, okay, well, this is what the Japanese do.
Yeah.
And then you can overlay it in what the jungle does, and things like bamboo and things like
Absolutely.
that. So we're gonna take a look. So biggest changes really. So obviously Japanese don't break very easily.
Well, that's right. So they don't really break at all, do they? Until they've got down to a half squad.
That's right. Yeah. So stripe. We're going to see a lot of that.
They stripe. Hopefully, we'll see a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's I've always looked forward to the sort of the human wave charges with the Russians, but you never get a chance to do them. But with the Japanese, you get lots of many more opportunities to do it. Even like little short ones and things like that. It's fun. Potentially got the DC heroes and things like that. You don't actually have DCs, but so perhaps not in this scenario. It just changes the game, makes it a more interesting game.
And key differences for today. So things like we're going to be adding an extra one for the attacker for ambushes, so harder for attackers to ambush.
Yes.
The Japanese are going to have to go to hand-to-hand combat if we get any close combat. They get an extra -1 as well.
Yeah.
So
they're lethal in close combat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I would imagine you'll be trying to avoid close combat.
I would have thought so. Though I am stealthy, which gives me a little bit of a chance to counter.
So I'm stealthy too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it evens that up just a little bit.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And so today's scenario just looks like an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we didn't talk about the PTO. What do you?
The
actual jungle stuff.
The actual jungle. So so dense jungle.
Yeah.
So that's the key difference there is two units per hex stack.
That's right. Yeah.
We talked about the straying rules a little bit. We've got to be careful of that.
You can't find mortars out of it.
That's right. Yep.
And you've got 4 multi-hex fire groups.
Yep.
Which generally a little bit slower hacking your way through it, isn't it?
And bamboo is the scourge of every.
Yeah, bamboo's the ultimate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, really difficult. Very difficult to get into.
Yep.
Attackers never really move into it, but sometimes forget you can set up in it.
That's right. Yep.
And it's a great place for a hip if mentally your opponent is not expecting
or
it.
a last gasp place to defend, because to get into that hex, it's like a CX or it's a minimum move, and you're pinned or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of trickiness that airbursts are subject to, so you can root them out a little bit with that. Right, and so we've got swamp as well, a little bit of swamp.
That's right. It makes sort of some of this board very, very 1 hex thick, I think, along here.
Right.
I can't see in this light.
Okay,
but down here.
Yep.
You've only really got one hex of advance
Right,
if you happen to be moving down that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you enjoy PTO?
I love PTO.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant. Yeah, really. It's generally very exciting.
Yeah.
In some respects, this isn't a typical PTO scenario in terms of what I'm not sure how much we'll be able to see some of the Japanese sort of kind of cool tricks and stuff. But yeah, I enjoy PTO.
Yeah.
They're zombies, aren't they?
The Japanese.
It doesn't matter how much you shoot them;
they
keep coming.
Exactly that. Yeah, no, that's very true. And yeah, we're going to see a lot of that. So okay, all right. So I think we're about ready to start, and we'll get back and see how it goes.
Yeah, turn one.
All right.
I've set up the American defenders for Smith Weston, a good old Pacific classic. Quite a good introductory scenario to somebody who might be interested in playing PTO for the first time. The Japanese are going to enter in two forces, one force on A5 of board 5 and one on A5 on board 34. Force has to be roughly equally split. There's a couple of choices about what there is. The Japanese win by exiting off the other edge, the far edge of this board, more victory points than the Americans exit off this edge, which means that this scenario is basically fighting withdrawal but PTO. I was allowed to deploy as many American units as squads as I wanted. I deployed one here, so which is going to carry the support weapons. I've got a 60mm mortar and a medium machine gun. I'm going to take them back, try and work out the best place to sort of defend the very back of the board, also giving me some units to kind of advance off at the end if he happens not to be anywhere near me. But the Japanese win. To win, they must exit more. So if neither of us exit anything, there would still be an American victory. I've got a couple of squads hip. Now what I've done is I've hipped 4 half squads along this path. Remember, in PTO this is going to be a path, and along this path, the idea being that he won't see them. He'll double time, ready to charge up the road, and of course he'll get held up. So I'm hoping that that's going to slow him down by a couple of turns. I've got a more powerful force here. I've got two 667s. I've got a 9-2. They're in this position because just in case he tries to go around this way. Though to be honest with you, I think this is bamboo, isn't it? It's going to be very, very difficult for him to kind of come around this sort of way. But I suppose he could come through here. So this force is there ready to respond if that's what he does. The alternative is that he simply runs up this road, and he'll pretty quickly spring some of the hip units, and this is in a position ready to sort of block them and sort of fight a fighting withdrawal. This is a much stronger position. There's 3 squads there, 2 negative leaders, a -2 and a -1. Kind of felt that the main attack might come here, because he doesn't have to get far through the jungle before he can break out into open ground. A couple of places I thought looked important. Down here, a mortar in the right place can potentially cover anyway, these woods, although it's not going to be brilliant with the palm trees there. You've got these sort of crossroads, I suppose. This is all open ground, so they've got to do a bit of crossing open ground towards the end if they're on this board. If they're on this board, they either need to go through this crossroads, that might be a position I hold, or possibly here, make a little bit of a stand there. But I don't want to stand too long. I don't want him to annihilate me, and he massively outnumbers me. So it's really going to be about taking a bit of defensive fire, giving a bit of defensive fire, trying to keep them out of close combat, moving back, regaining concealment, and just holding the Japanese advance to a couple of hexes, hopefully. That's sort of the plan, really. There we go.
Okay, so here's my setup for Smith & Weston. A fairly standard setup, I think. Just going to split the forces as evenly as I can. And I guess the only decisions really were when to send the leaders in which order. So predominantly the 10-1 is sitting in this position here. second position here for each of the squads that are coming on, predominantly to try and help out with any rally attempts that are going to be required. But other than that, the strategy really is to just charge up the path. 35 hexes, 33 or so hexes to make up in 8 turns is quite a whack. It's probably something like 3 or 4 hexes per turn that we've got to move. So there really isn't a lot of dilly-dallying around for the Japanese. I don't think I'll be doing a lot of prep fire in the scenario, and we'll see just how bad it gets after the first turn. I'm expecting some casualties, but if I can jump into close combat with anyone that reveals themselves as a hip unit or anything, that will help me, because effectively my squads are worth less than Martin's for purposes of the fact that I've got 18 of them and Martin only has 8 or so. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay,
End of turn 1.
Turn 1.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened, has it?
Nothing's happened at all, really. No.
I mean, I think I've just struggled getting on the board, which doesn't bode well for.
I think in retrospect, I might have made that a little bit harder for you.
Yeah, I think just
particularly on board 5, I could have put a little bit of the little fire lane somewhere, or a little bit of residual.
The one unit that did have a chance to shoot at me was just a crew.
Yeah.
That stripped concealment.
So I think in retrospect that was perhaps a mistake. But I mean, other than that, it's difficult to see how either of us have done anything wrong, really, except
just pick the scenario. That's the
Now, the only thing, of course, now is that I've moved into a position where we're going to have some sort of contact. I mean, a part of me was thinking, just stay out of the way of the Japanese, just move back slowly. But I do need to slow you down a little bit. So I've put myself in a position where we're going to have some contact.
Okay, all right, turn 2.
Right then.
Okay.
Still smiling?
The Japanese didn't do what the Japanese were supposed to do there.
No.
They got into close combat and then were outfought.
Outdiced, weren't they?
Well,
a little bit. Double 1 is hard to beat.
You did your 5 ones on the trot again. I don't know if you saw that with your.
I didn't do that. I didn't notice that.
So you did, but which is that's no problem. So you had a double 1 for your close combat.
Yes.
And then we joked about saying, okay, well, if it was a random selection for the casualty reduction.
Yes.
And you rolled another double 1, and then the wound on the leader, he was okay.
Right. To be fair though, one of the double 1s wasn't exactly in my favour, was it? The random selection, who was going to take the casualty reduction?
No, exactly that.
So I think in turn 1, I should have been a bit more in your face and just made life a bit more difficult for you. And then being a bit more in your face turn 2 was a little bit more risky. It certainly paid off. I mean, I think I've been a little bit lucky. You had a lot of stripes. We had a couple of KIAs, didn't we? I mean, we've ended up losing. I think I've lost 3. I think 3 squads and a leader. Yeah. And have you got a wounded leader as well?
The wounded leader, the first leader.
Well, that might, because that might slow you up a little bit. That kind of contributes to the victory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've obviously I got broken in by your advancing fire, routed back.
Yep.
And those units are coming back. They have this is a group here, as a whole squad here. They haven't come back. So if they don't come back, that's going to be that might be quite significant.
So this guy here, it's only a leader, isn't it?
That's that. Yes. No. There's a unit. Oh.
There's one over here. This one in.
Yeah, that's right. It's over there. That's right. The leader here is back. Yeah, that's fine.
Right. Yeah. So I think you've pulled back in the right time.
Yeah. I am starting to think the map looks a bit more porous than I thought. You know, there are little routes through that. Right. You can't get through that, but you can go around that, and it's a little bit more porous than I thought. I'm kind of thinking you've got to come down the track, and you haven't got to come down the track.
I don't see myself getting any units off this.
Really?
I just.
I don't think you're doing too bad in terms of the progress. What I think is a shame is that you lost 4 squads. I think that hurts a little bit. But you still have 14 left. Yeah,
three squads. I think 3 squads and a leader. I think
3 squads and okay, so you still got 15 left, and I've lost a half squad. Actually, that was quite interesting, wasn't it? The whole melee here.
Yeah, well, that was the double 1. Yeah, so we had it where I was 3 to 1, hand to hand, close combat. You like to think that you're going to do that with the Japanese. Rolled a 10, you rolled double 1. And then we think we gave you a leader, recalculated the odds.
So it became a casualty reduction.
Yeah.
You'd roll relatively high, didn't you? But you thought you'd killed me with a double 1, that got recalculated.
Yep.
So I've now got a wounded 6+1 leader in. No, a wounded 7-0 leader in close combat. In hand to hand.
We'll see how well he gets on. But yeah,
so that's not feeling brilliant for them.
No.
But the whole thing was to slow you up. Now, what I misunderstood was I thought, because I knew that when you move through, I could keep hip because we're in the jungle rules. And what I thought was I'd let like a one stack pass, but then this turn I'd like pop up and stop the rest of your force using the path and slow you down. And because there's a gully to the left side, it's going to really stay up using that. So you're going to want to come around this way. It's just going to make it the whole thing really, really slow for you. But of course, that detection thing doesn't apply in the advanced phase. If you're in the same hex in the advanced phase, we have to declare close combat.
That's right. That's what I think,
So that's why I played it like that, really.
Yeah, that's my understanding of the rules.
Mine completely. I just wasn't thinking it through when I set up the ploy.
So that's where we are.
Here we are.
Turn 3.
Excellent. Right then.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
So slow going in terms of getting through the jungle.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm probably 2 hexes behind where I'd like to be.
Yeah. Having said that, I think I feel quite disrupted. You know, like my line's disrupted. I haven't lost much. There's a lot of stuff that's broken. I broke it, didn't I? Voluntary broke
twice now. Yeah, and I think that's good. I think that's what you need to do.
With that leadership, they're so likely in the job to come back before your next turn, and then the only problem is if they come back at the beginning of your turn, I don't get a chance to reposition them.
Right. Yep.
But
the risk you have here is if you don't come back this turn, you've got your 9-2. Then also that stack is almost gone.
The only benefit I've got is there are 2 leaders in there.
That's right. Yeah. So it's
there's a reasonable chance of them both coming, or one of them coming back. Yep. But it's I hated breaking the 9-2. Just felt I can easily not come back if it doesn't come back. There's run the risk of being kind of overwhelmed. Yeah. And I do still feel there are like different ways for you to move to outflank me.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm starting to split my force up a little bit to sort of deal with that. And
the guys at the back here are a little bit indecisive about where they're guarding and what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. They've gone one way, then they've gone the other.
Yeah, I feel like they should be in the fight because right now,
I could do with them.
Yeah, just even if they were, up the front here.
You might make a case for the mortar, I guess, but I think you're right. You're right.
Just feels like a lack of manpower up there, but But who knows? At least you get to respond. That's the advantage. You get to respond to where the Japanese are breaking through. But you're holding the line.
Yeah. The truth is, though, that the line will break on both sides at some point. I think. Interesting.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Japanese turn 4.
Right then. So we finished turn 4.
Turn 4's just done.
And there was some tough moments in turn 4 for you. There's a lot of you got a lot of casualties again. I got lucky again with a couple of double ones, didn't I, and things like that. But you were doing the old sneaky
got around the back. Then I did get around the back.
Thought I had you.
Yeah, for a minute.
Ambush you with a -2 in your CX, but roll a double six.
Yeah, exactly.
And, in fact, you killed a half squad or a crew.
Yeah,
actually,
crew. Yeah, got the crew back.
So we're locked in melee. I'll go to hand to hand. You'll have lost the CX. 9 -2 leader could be.
Yeah, so that's going to be potentially it's going to. And I
potentially reinforce it. Yeah.
Which I would imagine will probably it's a bit of a tricky one, is it? Because hand I'm likely to lose everything.
You're likely to lose everything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it makes it. You have to think out the numbers, won't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see. I haven't lost very much, and although that may be just about to change, I do feel a little bit trapped here against this lake, and I was, so that doesn't feel brilliant, that position to me. Although you're making very slow progress through this jungle, obviously, and that seems fine. This side you could be about to break out. Again, I haven't lost much, but this melee could be about to change that. I've got to rally the 2 squads in there. I mean, this should come back, but there's no guarantee. And then suddenly you're in open ground. You can start doing what the Japanese do and just charge.
I feel like in The Sound of Music when they've got the hills and they can see Switzerland. I'm not sure Switzerland's so close to these guys, but we're quite close. But I mean, what I would say is that the scenario is not particularly exciting. There's not a lot of manoeuvre, is there? It's down paths and it's a bit of like a slogging. I mean, it's 4 turns. We've not had one prep fire shot from either player. Which has been, it's probably the first time I've got half a game with no prep fire shots at all.
That's quite impressive, actually, isn't it? That we've got no prep fire. Okay,
we're still grueling through it.
We're still going through it.
It's a grueling.
I feel now like having gone from feeling like it was going pretty well and feeling pretty confident, to sort of not being sure if it's possible for me to win this.
And this is in the same turn.
Yeah,
my concealed. This is my whining face. My concealed 2 squads, 10 -1 leader.
Yeah.
Into your 9-2 and the.
Well, you should have wiped me out.
Yeah.
And instead of that, I was lucky I wiped you out. And
Yeah.
I think you were expecting maybe everyone to die.
Yep.
But at least the 9-2 leader would be out the way.
Yeah, I took the other 9-2 out.
Yeah.
The other side of the combat.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
So one lot went. But I have got around the back of you.
It's one side. I've got almost nothing left. I made a mistake. I think we both agreed it was a mistake to take a prep fire shot, which is 30 plus
the
1.
only prep fire shot in the game.
The only prep fire shot in the game. I kind of felt pretty confident. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to absolutely decimate them.
And that was against a half squad and a crew with the machine gun.
And it was the crew that was the mistake because they had the machine gun.
Yeah, because they striped.
I broke the half strike, but only striped. So it got the 8 shot back. And you absolutely
you were overstacked, which didn't help.
No, and that's another mistake.
Yeah,
another mistake. I shouldn't. In fact, actually, probably the shot that I took against your stack we calculated that wrong because we hadn't realised I was overstacked. So anyway, I possibly paid with the game for that. I mean, it's you
lost basically a full squad, didn't you? Because two squads.
Yeah, but they're broken in a dodgy place. They don't look like they're coming back in a hurry.
This is
Whereas before,
R8.
when I've had breaks, at least
R6,
I've got a plan to get them back. I haven't got a plan to get them back. They're just stuck in the middle of the board.
Yeah.
So you got 3 squads perhaps running off at the moment.
Yeah, 3 squads,
maybe 4.
Potentially.
And there's very little to stop them.
Yeah, there's a mortar back there, isn't there? That we've got to be a little bit careful of.
A little bit careful of, but that's all I've got. This side, very nearly. I lost this side very nearly. If you'd have won that close combat.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting here is that you took the close combat and you killed the half. But you have gone a hex the wrong way.
Yeah,
I was kind of pleased in a way. It's a bit of a bait to bring you back.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, I couldn't advance anywhere where I thought I could achieve much this turn. I thought because I was here, so all I'd have done was move back to here, which blocks this road a little bit. That's not terrible, but then I'm also sort of doing that there. If you go that way, they couldn't get anywhere else. I just thought, you know what, just might as well get something. Get rid of another.
And it's worth mentioning how the 3 squads got past you because you had two squads and a leader, didn't you? And I ran one of the squads down the side of the board. And you took the bait and took the great shot, the 12 down 3.
Not thinking that you could do the sneaky thing with the wounded leader and move him adjacent.
And that let the other squads go around,
through. And of course the 12 -3 had no impact, no effect at all.
Past the morale check.
So it was complete waste, and actually that entire stack has paid the price really.
Yeah.
It was so easy for me to take a 12 -2 shot, 6 -2 shot, and then I'd have had another 6 -2 in reserve. That's all I had to do, and that was another mistake. So I made a couple of big mistakes I think in that turn, and I think it might mean you've won, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot to go. So turn 5 now.
Yeah, turn 5. Okay, so this is the end of turn 6.
Yep.
2 more turns to go. It's not going to take us 5 minutes to play it out, actually, is it? There's hardly anything left in the game that's relevant.
As I was worried about trying to get off the stuff, I mean, it's bizarre. Like, we've just crossed the crease of the middle of the boards.
Yes.
And I still can't get off the boards, like with 3 turns at a time.
You've got 2 half squads that look like they can get off, and a broken squad that could potentially, if he rallied on his own self.
Yeah. So I think it's likely that neither of us will get anything off.
I think that is possible. That would be my win. That would be my win.
Yeah. And I think that's what's going to happen.
I can get this guy off still.
Yes,
half squad. Subject to you firing at me and all that kind of thing.
But I mean, I thought I pushed quite hard, and just couldn't.
And I thought it was. I'm slightly surprised that this is so balanced on Raw, because it is, isn't it? And there's a lot of players.
Yep.
I think it's a great scenario. I think it's a lot of fun actually. I know you less so.
Yeah.
But I quite enjoy some elements of a game like this. But I made a couple of big mistakes, and the tables totally turned. Had I not made those mistakes, you wouldn't be in with a run right now, a chance.
So I feel like because perhaps we'll do it to the wrap up at the end about why I don't like this scenario. But I mean because you've Let's get it.
I've rolled.
Nothing else.
I tell you what, I do think you have is those -1 Japanese leaders make your guys practically invulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe could have been more aggressive with those perhaps at the beginning, especially. Yeah. But at the same time, I think I should have been falling back quicker.
Yeah, I mean, you were routing back as quick as
That's true.
possible.
I was routing back.
So you were making more ground up by routing back, because that's what
because I didn't go back faster. That's why this group here, which are now completely past my force, can't get off in time
and that's
for
the thing,
it to count.
Like a bit of my complaint about this game is that this is pointless. This whole board, it's almost. I think I said at the start. It's very, very hard to get these guys off, even without you present. You know, I think I was going to struggle.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's been the case, and so this all feels for nothing. This whole battle.
So what I think I've done is put too much force on this board.
Okay, yeah.
I probably could have put a few road bumps there, and that may have been enough to stop you from getting off.
Yeah.
Then I'd have another squad or two over that side.
Yeah.
And I probably should have fallen back a little bit with in good order to be able to sort of like really contest this, and then you'd have been struggling to get off.
Because now it's coming down to, like I say, as you say, it's your dice against my running.
Yeah.
For a mortar.
That mortar might stop you, it might not.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it, isn't it? It's just in the hands of the gods now.
Yeah. Okay, all right, let's see that.
All right.
Okay.
Right then, so we finished.
We have finished.
Came over to beat me again.
It was very close. So what was it?
End,
two half squads against one half squad. You got half.
1 point of victory points difference, between the two. Although that makes it sound closer, and it looked more like you were going to win in that last turn than me.
Well,
but you never know.
Right, but you're absolutely right on the last turn for you getting a squad off. So I had like 5 half squads covering the exit.
Yeah.
But it only needed a mortar to keep the rate of fire for you.
That's all it needed, and it did. It got one good shot. And
just missed the.
But didn't do anything. It got one hit. Didn't have.
Yeah, they were 2 half squads, so they weren't going to stripe and.
I only needed to break one of those half squads. That's right. But once it was my turn and I had 2 half squads to run off, I think I was never going to get them both off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was unlikely. But no, definitely. At the beginning of turn 8, it could have gone anyway.
It could have done. It could have done. So I didn't think it was a great scenario.
Yeah.
I thought that it was. There's not enough options for the Japanese. I don't think there's a lot you can do other than just push forward into what feels like relentless fire. I think you played very well. I think keeping the concealment for your guys. What swung it, I think, was when you wanted to break your stack with your leader to pull back, and suddenly everyone was just concealed around you, which more by luck than judgment.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
and you couldn't break. You couldn't voluntarily break because you didn't see anybody.
But that was over on this side, and by that time it was
yeah.
actually too late for you to get off anyway.
It was.
Although I think we slightly were a bit quick to think that this couldn't influence the game.
Right, yep.
Because actually the units that run down there were influential at the very end of the game, weren't they?
They were. And potentially, I mean,
they couldn't get off, but they could influence who did.
Yeah, exactly. So it's supposed to be a recommended game. So I when I suggested the scenarios to play today, I got that from Journal 1. So Journal 1, I should mention, is an amazing journal. If you haven't looked at it for the last a few years, for the number of great articles in there. So there's a great load of stuff about Red Barricades, there's the Sassel bits and pieces, but there's also the Smoke article, there's the tin cans in there, but there's a whole great stuff about PTO. There's a PTO kind of introduction.
I don't think I've got the annual one then.
Journal one, yeah.
So
and then there's also like a top tips as well. It's a brilliant journal.
I'm sure I've seen 1 or 2 of those articles perhaps online or whatever, but I don't think I've got the annual.
Yeah, really good. So worth having a look at if you were going back into PTO again, just because it helped me out a lot.
You say you didn't think it was great, and I understand what you mean, like because the options manoeuvre seemed a little bit limited. But if I was teaching somebody who knew how to play ASL, how to play the PTO rules, that was kind of PTO light.
That's exactly that. So that's what I was going to say is this is one of the recommended kind of getting back into. So they say to start off with the Japanese in an ETO style terrain.
Yeah, I mean there was no real opportunities for Banzai. It was essentially an ordinary game with a few different rules for the terrain.
That's right.
And then of course the striping and stuff.
So it's a great introduction for that.
I think so. I think it's a great introduction.
But in terms of like for us who have played
lots
a fair bit of PTO and stuff, I'm not quite sure if it's got enough tactical things. Like I say, I think you did brilliantly pulling back, and I got lucky at the end there.
I could certainly critique my play. I could certainly think I could have done better. There was and I certainly made some big mistakes in the mid game, which I think is what made it possible for you to have that shot at the win. But even then, I thought they were disastrous mistakes. It was only touch and go whether you could actually make it. So it was very difficult.
And we criticised the question about whether you left these squads at the back here too far back. And actually, they were the ones that were the ones
They were the ones
win,
in the
win it for you.
yeah, absolutely.
So it's a lot like fighting with draw in that that end comes around very quickly, doesn't it?
Do you know the medium machine gun went back there with the mortar, and then I sent the machine gun back up here to reinforce this side. But actually, a machine gun, even with potentially with a foxhole by the time you've got there, firing down, across here, would have made it very difficult for you.
Yeah,
in fact, you don't even need a foxhole; just get into the crest status,
or even the building,
even the building. Yeah. The buildings are not quite as good because you've got this jungle here, but crest status, and you can fire both directions.
Oh right, yeah.
Well, no, you'd be on the wrong. You'd be pointing that way, but you could potentially.
You could come back up and
manoeuvre for whichever side the threat appeared on. Yeah. I wonder if it would be possible to make more progress with just a squad or two down like the. I mean, it's not a brilliant edge.
Yeah, I looked at it.
But it's not an awful. It's this.
Yeah, I did look at it, and I think it is a potential.
One leader, one half squad, or one squad down the edge. Everything else fighting up the road. Lots of pressure. It was
just the idea of getting it across at the back here was too. So you've got to kind of cut across
you can
the
do
paths.
It here,
on the H.
Yeah, no, I agree. This looks a bit slow, but this way.
Yeah. It just felt slow because anytime you're going sideways for 4 hexes, this kind of theory.
But it's uncontested, and if we'd have to count it out to see if it would be plausible. If it's plausible, the Americans got to send a squad to kind of try and sort of block it, haven't they? Because they can't. A leader and a squad, you're looking at 3 points. It's enough to win.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be a very low scoring.
Yeah, and you could even do the same. I mean, you had a lot of casualties. Like things didn't go well casualty wise. I thought, but in the end, that's not what it was about. In the end, what it was about was how much was close enough to the edge to run off. And I had the same problem. My forces, which is why I think I needed to fall back quicker. Yeah. I needed to be. Nearer the exit than you, which stopped being the case here, didn't it? And albeit you couldn't get off, but nor could I.
That's right. And we kind of criticised this whole play on board 34, but in reality, like you say, it is kind of trying to position. I guess you're trying to stop and interdict anything coming off, and that's really what your forces are there to do. And that's they're doing a good job there. And if I don't disrupt you, then that's what the problem's going to be.
Yeah.
But having said that, I was 1 pin away from losing the game, so
yes,
because a draw wins it for you. So
absolutely,
that was good.
Right then, so what else have we got to say?
I think there's not a lot else.
We were going to talk about potential sponsors. Is that the?
So we've got some. So the sponsorship is on the way. We think. So we're waiting to see what's going to come through. So if we get something in the post at some point,
we'll feature it.
We will do. Yeah. If not, we will.
We won't.
we will badmouth those guys until they send us over.
Yeah.
But so we'll be playing something either. I thought maybe something from Red October, Red Factories, if you fancy that. Yeah. Maybe something from Hatton in Flames. So we can have a look at something like that.
Tuesday's the day before Christmas Eve, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Christmas jumpers. Or is that?
Are
you saying? No?
Well, no. I mean, why not? See, you're up for it. We'll see. It depends what's happening with kids, I suppose, and stuff.
Okay.
We'll find out.
All right. Okay. All right. And until then.
Bye. Don't other people have things they say roll low and prosper and
they do. And the best thing that we come up with is a thing I said by accident when I said thank you for your combat. I actually thought maybe we could use that as our send off. Okay. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So until then,
thanks for the beating.
Yeah. Well. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.